Hi there folks, welcome back to another Tayar podcast session with me, Gavin. This episode I'm going to be reviewing the AIDEN JOYCE Memorial Fund, which was a charity concert held for AIDEN JOYCE, and it was also part run by CRY, which stands for the Cardiac Risk in the Young. I'll go on to more about that later, but right now I just want to take this opportunity to express my sincere condolences to Mastodon and all the affected members, including West End Motel, Fiend Without a Face, the Dirty Bees, for the passing of Brent Hinds. For those of you who don't know me, I was a massive Mastodon fan back when I was about sort of late teens. The first time that I'd been to see them was on the Blood Mountain tour. That was for my 18th birthday, and I was just absolutely obsessed with Brent Hinds' work within that band. I actually got the opportunity to meet Brent Hinds as well with my friend Kevin Robertson, and we bought him a wee Nessie doll because we went to see him live when they played as a three-piece. Bill was in hospital at that moment. That was December 2008, because it was just before the release of Crack the Sky, and Bill was in hospital with I think he had a cyst or a growth in his stomach. Yeah, they were on tour. They'd done a string of tours. We went to see them perform as a three-piece, and yeah, we met Brent Hinds in the pub beforehand. He was with a couple of folk, and yeah, we bought him a little Nessie which had a suction cup on it. It was putting on their bus tour window, so because Brent was a bit hot and sweaty, he actually stuck it on his head. And my friend, I don't know if he still got the image, but he took a photograph of Brent with this Nessie in his face. Brent Hinds was a phenomenal character, and I believe that he has impacted not just through music but from his personality as well. He has had a positive impact on a lot of people, so it's a great sadness that we've lost that man. However, without meaning to sound a bit spiritual and religious, I would like to think that everyone will meet him again. So let's get back to it. So Devonvale Hall down at Tillicoultry, Saturday night. I chose to go down there because both Martin Mulady and Delta Manic were performing. I didn't actually understand what it was. I just kind of thought it was a get-together sort of jam thing, but no, it wasn't. AIDEN JOYCE, I believe he actually was at Perth College, which is where I studied as well. AIDEN JOYCE was there with Martin Mulady and a few other people as well that I know. He studied music, he formed a band, I believe. I think mainly they done covers, but he was a very talented man seemingly. Played drums, played keyboard, played guitar. I think he played keyboard in a band at some point as well. Anyway, the sadness of this is he passed away one night. He was 28-year-old and he passed away in his sleep due to a cardiac problem. I got speaking to his relatives at the concert, who were absolutely wonderful. It was really nice to hear from them. As much as it was sad, I believe the incident occurred 2 years ago, and this is the second event that's been held for him. I believe that in his community he has touched the life of so many people, so he was greatly admired by his community. Devonvale Hall looked absolutely stunning. Never been there before, no idea about it. It's Tillicoultry, so I've never really been there before, but it was colossal. I don't know how many people you could get there, but it was a raised stage. It had a decent bar facility with decent beverages on offer. The staff were absolutely fantastic, really super friendly as well. AIDEN's grandparents kind of hosted the event. There was a raffle there as well. Some guy won a TV. How awesome was that? It was like, what, something ridiculous, like 6 to 8 inches or something like that. So he won a beast of a TV, like patio set. So there was a raffle with phenomenal prizes in it, like good for them. And it was all for raising funds for this CRY charity. And I believe that annually, arguably, they've been able to screen over 200 young people to help identify signs of cardiac problems and prevent instances like AIDEN, which is a phenomenal cause, an absolute phenomenal cause. So to be honest with you, I had no idea what I was even attending. Literally, I must have looked like a total idiot at the back of the room, keeping to himself, sort of bobbing away, dancing to the music of Delta Manic and Martin Mulady, because clearly everybody was there through knowing a connection to AIDEN JOYCE, and then you've got this guy that nobody recognises because he's out of town and he's literally just there for the music. In fact, his AIDEN's grandmother came up to me and she's like, "Oh, you do a music podcast?" And I give her a card, and then once Martin Mulady had stopped, there was a massive changeover, so I just went up and started chatting to her, and I did say, I goes, like, I'm sorry if you think I've gatecrashed your party, I really was only here for the music. But she was delighted that I came, and she more than welcomed me a part of it. She even offered me to come back next year, so I'll have to have a look out for that, and I'll definitely go back down to pay some support, absolutely. So yeah, so there was a few bands that performed that night. I can't remember all of them because I think there was about 5 bands that performed that night. The 2 that I went to see were Martin Mulady and Delta Manic. I'll begin by talking about Delta Manic. If I'm right in thinking, this could have been the first or second gig with Lauren, who's just recently replaced on keyboards. She was cool. From what I was hearing, she was pretty good. The stage, it was kind of awkward, I felt, the position of it, so there must have been, it looked like there wasn't enough room, but sound-wise was phenomenal, and the venue really projected their sound well. It was almost like a time capsule, because Delta Manic plays sort of a soul funk thing. It felt like I was taken back to like a working man's Northern Soul Club experience. That was really, really cool. That was really cool. But yeah, the crowd definitely loved them. As I say, their sound was great. The drummer, he was rocking out at one point. I was actually a bit astonished by that, because I thought, oh right, okay, I didn't know that the band could kind of go to that soundscape, because it really painted an energetic sort of edge on like the soul aspect of the band, and it was phenomenal. The lead singer, his vocals cut through, man, he was owning that stage, and at one point, like a couple of the songs he plays guitar, and then there's another couple of songs where it's just him, but either way, whichever he did, he just owned that stage. Like he stood out, and he made it happen, and it was such a joy to witness. These guys and girl are really, really talented. Their music is so cool. I absolutely love listening to them. So they started off, they didn't come in like what they did at Heartland Festival, and they just kind of introduced themselves and had a wee bit of a chat, and then came in with Do Our Thing, which it's just got such a distinct feel, and as soon as you start hearing it, when seconds you're starting to groove or bob along it, it's beast. It was a shame because the dance floor was a bit empty, but there was 2 people from the crowd that just got up and just started dancing and grooving away at the music, and it was such a beautiful thing to see. They played Lifeline, they ended with Lifeline, and that was really cool. I thought they would have played that earlier in the set, but they didn't. But arguably one of my favourite ones they do is Ain't Nothing But Soul. The nature in that is just a lot, it's kind of a bit moodier and a bit noir, but where they positioned that in the set, it had that sort of that low dip where it's like that kind of calm energy period, and it makes it like it sounds so cool. Honestly, there's 3 guitarists in the band, including the lead singer, and even though it's soul, which is kind of a minimalistic thing, like in comparison with, you know, jazz, how almost every instrument is doing its own wee thing, and collectively they all unite together to make something that's audibly pleasant. The guitars do that exactly in this. They've all kind of got their own lines, you know, shapes and sounds, and everything just blends together, and it's super nice to hear. But I love the lead vocalist, I love the the tonality of his vocals. I feel that his voice is perfect for that genre of music. His background, I really don't know much about it, but he just sounds fantastic. I love them. Like, I actually really do enjoy them. I got chatting to them after the set as well, and just they were really impressed and happy with my review of them from the Heartland Festival, which was great. But they were sharing some sad stories, seemingly like they've tried to gig sort of in Glasgow way, and no one's really interested in them, which I think is quite sad. It depends on the individual, but if people are looking for a future in music, they have to understand that they can't just sit back and let media and sort of the internet and modern ways of receiving, how would you say it, consumerist products. You can't just sit back and accept it. You have to embrace this fact that you're not going to like everything, but there's going to be some things that out there that you find. I mean, Tayar podcasts, we've done that as well. It's not to say that every single band that we've reviewed that we've enjoyed, or every single gig or venue that we've been to, we've thought, oh, this place is great. Some of the times we're not happy with it, we're not happy with the sound, we're not happy with one of the bands. It's just, we have to take that gamble in order to find something that's good. But I can honestly say that Delta Manic are one of the most talented bands that are out there right now, and I highly recommend, if you see their name, I highly recommend that you go and check them out. So, moving on to the next one, Martin Mulady. He was introduced as Clackmannonshire's was it the finest songwriter to have ever come from Clackmannonshire. So within that's such a title. It wasn't the most fitting place for sort of like a gig, but you know what? It doesn't matter. Bands these days, you take the opportunity to play where you can. So Martin Mulady, yeah, he came on. I didn't actually realise it was just a 3-piece. I thought there was 4 of them in it. Anyway, he came on, and did he rock out? He was busting all the moves, he was owning the stage, he was really making the room try to come alive. It was a beautiful thing. Played my favourite, he played Holding On. That was the second song that he came. It had a different vibe than what it did do up at Tillicoultry, so I don't know if there was a difference in the energy, whether it was because it was more of a late evening thing, or whether it was due to the crowd. I'm not actually quite sure. But yeah, I mean, it was still a great performance. He still played it absolutely brand new, unlike the solo and Moving On, but what can you do? Moving On, great song. He also played his new single, which he's just released, as a song called Don't Say. That went down really well. I was listening to a snippet of it, and actually the way in which he sings it, don't say, when they perform that live, they have a tendency to tail say for as long as they can, and it bleeds in, whereas during the studio recording it kind of just goes don't say and stops. And I think, I prefer the live version so much better. Live music's great because you do get that energetic feeling, and you get to immersify yourself in the music, so it becomes more of a physical engagement, whereas just listening to it on a studio platform, sometimes it has a tendency of putting you off. Maybe that's just a personal opinion on my part, but yeah, from when I listened to that clip today, I thought, oh what, where's the tail, man? Just keep going, bring the energy in. But I guess that's why you have to go and support live music. So yeah, he played that, it was absolutely great. He played that slow song again, but I can never remember the name of it. His EP Invisible, I'll need to purchase that because I know that both Holding On and Moving On are on that. So I'll need to purchase that. So moving on then, let's just talk about that. So Moving On, that was his last song. It came up to the lead guitar part. Something happened on stage, I didn't quite get a glance at it. Martin pulled his cable out of his guitar. So when he went to go for the solo, the bassist and the drummer kept on performing, and Martin wasn't heard at all. So there was a bit of a chuckle at that, and then all of a sudden he comes back in just at the tail end of it, finished the song as a professional man is what he is, and then it was all sort of done and dusted. But no, Martin's set was really good. I mean, it's kind of, So commercial rock music, he identifies himself as being inspired by Green Day. So Green Day's obviously had a predominant influence on him, which I suppose I can kind of tell, but I feel that there's a few of the sort of indie rock bands from the mid-2000s. I was going to say The View, but maybe not them. But there's definitely like you can hear like a rock thing, maybe even the Foo Fighters or something like that, because you can definitely hear sort of that strong rhythm. But then they'll add in a few, like, so for example they'll play an F add 9, so you've got that, there's a nice chime in the power chord. It's not just a bog standard power chord, it's got like an added ninth in there, which just gives it an extra bit of character. He does things like that, which is really, really cool, and it brings out more of the section. So for example, say he's using a C add 9 in the chorus, it will totally lift that chorus to make it sound different from the verse, which is what you want to do. So his songwriting, I think's really, really good, and I can't wait to hear more of it. I don't know how long he's been doing what he's been doing for, but I know that he's got a lot more material to release, and I know that he's performing. I think they were trying to organise an event in Alloa towards the end of September. I think it was the end of September, and I haven't heard anything back from that. But I know that he's also playing at some festival in October, on October the 4th. So definitely have a look out for that, and I would highly recommend to go and see him. Martin's really cool. I managed to get chatting to both Delta Manic and Martin Mulady, and Martin Mulady was sharing this story. He performed at a charity. It was a football charity thing. I think he's a bit more domestic to Alloa though. Maybe even sort of north of the Central Belt, maybe Stirling, Falkirk way. I think he's a bit more domestic there. Definitely go and check him out. I highly recommend it because he's a really, really talented singer-songwriter from Clackmannanshire. Yeah, well done. So that'll do us. Thanks for everybody for listening. Check out their social media pages for both Delta Manic and Martin Mulady. You'll find them on the Tayar podcast Instagram. If you look under our following, you'll find them out. The guys are absolutely brand new. Make sure that you check out their music on, I'm not sure about Delta Manic, but I think Martin's got a couple of music videos released on YouTube. But I know that the bands are available on sort of streaming platforms. So yeah, go and have a listen, and please support live music. If you'd like to get in touch with us with bands that you want us to review or anything like that, please send us an email. Check out our Facebook page, check out our Instagram page, our YouTube page. All of our podcasts are available on YouTube. Thank you so much for listening. It means a lot to us. We're getting positive feedback from the artists that we review as well, so thank you very much to them for taking the time to listen to our podcasts. And all I can say is thank you and support live music. Take care.